Right. All right. It's not ESPN's 30 for 30. However, it is my 98 for 98. The 98 seasons in the history of the New York Football Giants. I'm going to try to get it done in 98 days. That's not happening. So I lied. However, I am going to get it done before September 10th, which is the beginning of the new season when the Giants take on those Dallas Cowboys. And we're at the 1983 season. All choked up about it. I'm so sorry. Which just happened to be the 59th season in the history of the New York Giants. Let's see. Wow. It's like up and all around this whole spectrum. It was a great season. It was a horrible season. It was a really sad season. It was a season like full circle. It was a great season because Bill Parcells, perhaps you know him, he took over as the head coach of the New York Giants. So it was a bad season because they were 3-12-1. I mean, they were horrible. It was that bad that there was quite possibly a chance that Bill Parcells wasn't around for year two. He thankfully he made it, thankfully. Yeah, I think we can all thank that. But there was a chance that he would be 3-12-1, that he was not going to be around for a second season. But he made it for the second season, and boy, he turned things around. We went from 3-12-1 to a playoff berth and a playoff win in 1984. So it was a big turnaround. It was it was a horrible season because they were 3-12-1, and they were bad. I mean, they were part of it. Once again, Phil Simms was injured. So they had Jeff Rutledge in there. Scott Bruner was in there, so quarterback play was not at a premium. I mean, or it was not good, right? Phil Simms, I believe, wanted to be traded during the season because Parcells, one of his first things he had to do was, do I do Scott Bruner or do I start Phil Simms? I'll start Scott Bruner. So Phil Simms, wanted to be traded. And, that didn't wind up happening, thankfully. But when he did get his chance, I'm going to read this from Wikipedia. I think it was like he came in. I will go over it. I think the first time he came in, he wound up getting hurt, and he was out the rest of the season. He missed all 82. He got injured in preseason against the Jets. So, I mean, he missed like back-to-back seasons. 82 and 83 were gone for Phil Simms. It was a sad season, really sad season. This kind of crap just really just kills me. And it doesn't have to be a Giant. Anybody, frickin' period. Any team, even the Eagles, period. This frickin' crap just kills me. Is it here? Long-time Giant. He get drafted in 1974. It was with the Giant. He was never much, he always gave it his all. That guy took an absolute beating. I mean, because we didn't have good offenses, didn't have good offensive lines. But one of my favorite Giants of all time, Doug Coder, he passed away in 1983. He died from an inoperable brain tumor. I mean, just absolutely horrible on December 16th. So he didn't play during the season. So I guess he was taken, with his mental or his physical problems and health problems and all. I guess that kept him out of the season, and he wound up dying toward the very end of the season. Absolutely horrible. And then the Giants drafted. They got it here. I got that. Nope. I'll have to let me pull it up here. Team draftees. Giants got Mr. Irrelevant. Okay. They wound up taking John Tuggle. a running back from California. In the 12th, the pick number 335, Mr. Irrelevant. Well, he played one season for the Giants. And then I'll just start. I'll read this here. John Tuggle. Here we go. So he played one season for the Giants. He had a lot of special teams play, pretty much. I mean, he was just a tough, rugged guy. He gave it his all, right? And then, unfortunately, after 83, things started going downhill for him. The offseason in 1984 turned out to be less positive. Tuggle got divorced from his wife and suffered a knee injury during a workout, resulting in minor surgery. During the summer, Tuggle and some teammates were involved in a minor car crash when their vehicle struck a telephone pole. The accident wasn't serious, but Tuggle noticed pain in his shoulder that seemed too significant to be entirely the result of the collision. Advised to see a doctor by Rob Carpenter, his teammate, who was in the car with him. Rob Carpenter was in the car with Tuggle at the time. Tuggle was soon diagnosed with cancer. He stayed on the team and continued to work out with the team, hoping he could one day return to the field. Beat cancer, maybe get the radiation, beat cancer. Okay, all right, I got this out of my system. I'm ready, because he was only played one season. It wasn't like he was 32 years old or something. He was young. So if he beat the cancer, starts working out again, maybe he makes it back to the team, right? So you could tell what a terrible thing his chemotherapy was, said Giants conditioning coach Johnny Parker. But John actually got stronger. And although it broke your heart to do it, he wanted to be pushed. He didn't want sympathy in the weight room. John Tuggle was not sick. John Tuggle was a standard in the weight room. So, I mean, he was out there, even sick, cancer and all. He pushed and pushed and pushed. The Giants advised Tuggle not to report to training camp in 1985, as that way they would not have to cut him from the team and he could continue to collect his salary until his contract expired in 1986. So they did him a favor, huge favor. In the final months of his life, Tuggle moved in with a college teammate from his days at California, telling him he wanted to die in California. He spent his remaining days undergoing cancer treatment in San Diego and Mexico until his death on August 30th, 1986. They did not keep him on the team after the 85 season. The Giants paid for Tuggle's health insurance for the remainder of his life, and they wore a number 38 on the back of their helmet during their shit freaking kills me during the 86-87 season. So during the 86 season, right, if you with a Super Bowl, if you see a 38 on the back of the helmet, that's for John Tuggle. That's they pay tribute to him. Just a absolute, he was no Barry Sanders, no Emmitt Smith, no Jim Brent, nothing like that. But he's just a guy who just wanted to play football, gave it his all the time. And the one thing that really kills me is Tuggle. He was also the subject of a 30 for 30 short called The Irrelevant Giant. Now the short is only like 10 minutes long. I think it is. It's, the 30 for 30 obviously are 30 minutes long. But the 30 for 30 short was like about 10 minutes long or so. But one thing that really always touched me, just, once again, always kills me every time I think about it, was I'm not exactly sure when it was. It was like the 85, after the 85 season or during the 85 season or maybe the 86 season or somewhere around there. It was the final, it was coming close to the, time for, I guess, Tuggle to pass away. I mean, you could see this if you watch the 30 for 30 short called The Irrelevant Giant. But Bill Parcells was talking about this. He said, I think Parcells was in his office, and I said, I don't remember if it was 85 or 86, because Tuggle, what was it? Passed away. Okay, it was before the 86 season. Okay, so it could have been like in the maybe April or May of 86, somewhere around there could have been. right? And I guess when Tuggle knew, he said he wanted to die in California, so I guess he just knew his time was coming. So there was either a knock at the door of Parcells was in his office. It was either a knock or he got a call, and maybe the secretary said somebody here to see, or John Tuggle's here to see, or something like that, whatever it was. And Parcells, either waved them into the office, or he told the secretary to send him in, or whatever it was. I can't remember. But when Tuggle went into the office, he was dressed up in a I think it was a tuxedo. I think he said he said a black tuxedo. I think it was. He was all dressed up to the nines, all decked out and everything like that. And he said he walked in with a paper bag, and he went and he sat down, and I looked at, hey, coach, how you doing? Whoever it was, he had the paper bag. I think he put it down on his, I don't know if he had some glasses with him too, but he plopped it down on a desk, said, let's have a drink. I don't know if he said something, I'm not going to see you ever again, or something, or whatever it was, but he wanted to have a drink with the coach. So he said, I think Parcells said he was there for like 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was, or something like that. I guess they had a drink together, and that was the last he saw of him. And I guess I'm not sure if they went to the funeral. I mean, quite possibly they did. I'm not sure of, but that was the last time he saw him alive. So he's got this young kid walking in, who's like 25 years old, whatever it was, knows he's going to pass away, and he wants to sit down and have one final drink with the coach. It's just freaking kills me. So that was the Giants drafted him. And it was going back to the full circle kind of thing. It's kind of odd because after 82, Paul Bear Bryant stepped down from the head coaching of Alabama. Ray Perkins went back to Alabama to be the head coach. That's what opened up the job for Bill Parcells. So Ray Perkins went back to Alabama to coach. Well, that was his alma mater. He was from 63 to 66, I think it was. He was a player at Alabama under Paul Bear Bryant from 63 to 66. So he was a player under Bear Bryant, and now he was replacing Bear Bryant as the head coach. And then even more full circle, Ray Perkins left the Giants with Bill Parcells underneath him as the linebacker coach. So in 81-82, Perkins is the coach. Parcells is underneath him as the linebacker coach with the Giants. Kind of full circle kind of thing. After Bill Parcells leaves the Giants, he goes to the New England Patriots, and he's the head coach of the Patriots. And kind of full circle, when Parcells is the head coach of the Patriots, Ray Perkins, so Bill Parcells is the head coach of the Patriots, Ray Perkins winds up being the offensive coordinator of the Patriots. So it's kind of a little full circle kind of thing there. So, I mean, it was just the season was just all over, just sad, very disappointing with the record. We didn't know what we had with the new coach. I mean, a new coach comes in, he's the linebacker coach. Great. Whoop-de-doo. He was never a head coach before in the NFL. He's 3-12-1. They were not good at all. I mean, but yeah. So but we didn't know we had a little diamond in the rough there. But let's read what Wikipedia here has to say about the New York Giants. 1983 New York Giants season with the franchise's 59th season in the National Football League. 59th for the Giants, 64th season for the NFL. NFL started in 1920. Giants started in 1925. The Giants are 5 years younger than the NFL. Giants finished in last place in the National Football, the NFC East, with a record 3-12-1. Oh my God! And even the one tie. Oh my God! Oh, people were saying it's like the worst Monday Night Football game of all time, which I really can't argue with that. I mean, it was the Giants' worst record since 1976. Now, in 76 they were 3-11. They only played 14 games, though. Here in 83, they played 16 games. So who knows? If they played 2 more games in 1976 instead of maybe 3-11, they might have been 3-13. But anyway, the 1983 NFL Draft, which was pretty good for the Giants. Pretty good. All right, we'll go over that in a minute. Giants selected defensive back Terry Kennard in the first round. Nice pick, with the 10th overall pick. The 1983 season was the first for the Giants under head coach Bill Parcells, who had been offered the position after previous head coach Ray Perkins resigned before succeeding Bear Bryant as the coach for the University of Alabama. Parcells named Scott Bruner, the team's starting quarterback, ahead of Phil Simms and Jeff Rutledge, who the Giants traded for to get him. Phil Simms, upset with the decision, Simms requested a trade at one point during the season. New York was 2-2 in their first 4 games of the season, so that means the final 12 games. Holy cow, were they bad! You're 2-2, and you went up 3-12-1. Oh my goodness! I remember that season. I was almost happy. Almost. Let's not get too carried away here. That I was in the Philadelphia area, because around here you just see Eagle games. I seen the Monday night game. There was the 2 games against the Eagles, and I'm sure I seen like maybe a couple other games, maybe two, maybe 3 other games for the Giants, because usually the Giants and the Cowboys are on or something like that. But there was the Monday night game, the 2 Eagle games, and there's probably maybe 2 other games or so maybe I saw. So I was, out of the 16 games, I might have seen 5 or 6 of them down here. So, but most of the losses I didn't see. So it was the Giants were 2-2 in their first 4 games of the season before a 3-game losing streak that left the club at 2-5. So against the Philadelphia Eagles in their 6th game, the Giants inserted Simms into the lineup in place of Bruner. Shortly afterward, Simms suffered a season-ending injury. Let's see, and of course, and here we have the Monday night debacle. The St. Louis Cardinals hosted the Giants in a matchup on October 24th. This is funny. At the New York Daily News, Gary Myers later called, and you really can't argue with him, the worst game in the history of football. I tell you, it's on YouTube. Type in the Giants and Cardinals 1983. The Monday. There's I think like 29 minutes worth of video, because they it's overtime too. And if you watch that, you look at that game, and it was really sad. It was really, really sad. I mean, you look at those 2 teams, and it's like, oh my God. Well, I'll go over the game in a little bit when we go. But after the Giants lost a lead late in the 4th quarter in the game that went into overtime. Oh, okay. Well, that explains it here. The Cardinals missed 3 field goal attempts in overtime, including 2 field goals in the final 1 minute and 6 seconds of the game. They missed an 18-yard field goal. They got down to the 1-yard line. They completed a pass. I don't know if it was Roy Green or who it was, caught the pass, and maybe got out to around the 1 or 2 yard line or so, but he missed an 18. So they stopped the clock. It was a minute 8, minute 9, minute 10 to go in the game, or maybe got down to a minute 6, maybe it was. And then Donahue comes in, try to kick an 18-yard field goal, and he missed it. Just kicked it wide. Then, and right after that, the Giants got the ball back with about a minute to go. So they still have a chance. So what Rutledge do? He throws an interception. The guy runs the ball back, and not quite in the field goal range, I don't think. Maybe it was in the field goal range. But anyway, Donahue ran on the field again with, 10 seconds to go or so in the game. He tried to kick like a 40-something yard field goal, and he missed that one terribly too. It wasn't even close. It was horrible. The Giants lost the following 3 games before a victory in Philadelphia, which was the final win of the season. Losses to the Raiders, Seattle Seahawks. Losses to the Raiders, St. Louis, Seattle, and Washington left the team with a final record of 3-12-1. Ali Haji Sheik on the brighter side, the Giants kicker set a team record for most points scored in a season with 35 field goals. So, they couldn't score touchdowns. He had and 22 extra point conversions. He was responsible for 127 points. In addition, he set a team record for the longest field goal in the game versus Green Bay with a 56-yarder. Ernest Gray had a good season. All right, he had 1,139 receiving yards, becoming the first Giant wide receiver in 15 years since Homer Jones did it to exceed 1,000 receiving yards in a season. So, I mean, you know. All right, let's see here. So let's go to, let's just the preseason real fast. Here we got 4 preseason games. The Giants were actually 3-1. So they started off 3-0. They lost the final one. So the first preseason game was August 7th against the Jets. Giants won 23-16. The following week on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers on August 12th, Friday, August 12th. In Pittsburgh, they beat the Steelers 22-13. The following week on Saturday, August 20th, against the Baltimore Colts, they won 27-14. And then the final preseason game on Friday, August 26th, against the Miami Dolphins at home, they lost 24-3. So they finished 3-1. Now let's go to their draft, which was not too shabby. Not too shabby. All right, so the Giants, they picked number 10. They took Terry Kennard, very good defensive back, very good pick. I mean, obviously there were better players out there and all of that, you know. But all in all, I mean, you know, he was a good pick for the Giants, good solid pick for the Giants. Just want to make sure I don't miss any trades here and then again. All right, so in the second round, the Giants took Leonard Marshall. Outstanding. You know, you'll also kind of start noticing like a little theme here with Bill Parcells there. Drafting defensive players early on. He liked to do that. Matter of fact, the 1986 draft, his first 6 draft picks were defensive players. He had a first-round pick. He had a third-round pick. He had 4 second-round picks. His first-round pick is 4 second-round picks, and his third-round pick. His first 6 picks were all defense. 1986. We built a heck of a defense. Got to give him some credit there. All right, so that was the second round. The Giants drafted Leonard Williams. Outstanding pick. Then the Giants traded Gary Jeter to the Rams. And they wound up with they got Jamie Williams and Kevin Belcher. Absolutely horrible. That was an absolute horrible trade. I mean, just garbage, absolute garbage. I mean, Jamie Williams and let's see here. I'm trying to look at Jamie Williams. He played, let's see. Well, he didn't play, let's see. He played from 83 to 94, Jamie Williams. He never even played for the Giants. He played for St. Louis. He played for the Cardinals. He played for the Houston Oilers, the 49ers, and the Raiders. Didn't even play for the Giants. I mean, absolute horrible. Absolute horrible. Let's see. And then the Giants got Kevin Belcher in the 6th round. So they got an additional pick, Kevin Belcher. So Kevin Belcher played, I think, like 2 seasons for the Giants. Then he got into a car accident. And his I think it was from his foot or his leg or something like that. He had nerve endings were exposed through a cut or whatever it was, and he was never able to play ever again. He wound up being this Giants center in 1984. They needed a center, and then in 1985 they got Bart Oates. But he was the Giants center in 1984. But he was not a very good center. I mean, he if you look at some of those highlights and some of the games and all that, he was overmatched sometimes. He was not a very good center. But they traded away for 2 draft picks. One guy never even Gary Jeter was a very good defensive lineman. So I mean that was a bad trade. Bad trade. All right, then let's see what else we got here. So the Giants in the 3rd round. Their pick was Carl Nelson. Nice pick. Good pick. All right, then we got, so that was round 4. I'm sorry. Now we're going into round 4. Round 4, the Giants traded their pick away to the Rams to get Jeff Rutledge. So they got themselves a backup quarterback. So, I mean, not bad. Can't complain too much about that. All right, so that was round 4. Round 5, the Giants selected Malcolm Scott. Okay. Let's see it. Round 5. Okay, round 6, the Giants selected Darrell Patterson. No, he didn't even make it. Didn't even make it in the pros. All right. Okay. Then the Giants. Let's see. Okay. All right. The Giants. Then they said here the Giants. Then they took Perry Williams. How long did Perry play for? Perry. 84 to 93. That was a very good pick. Very, 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 very good pick. Their next pick was very good too. So they had some good picks here. Once again, it seemed like their picks on defense were very good. And I don't know why they traded away Jeter away. I mean, I don't know if it was a contract problem. He wanted to leave. I don't know. But, I mean, traded away a good player, and they got nothing in return for him. Then they took, in round 8, they got Andy Hedden. He only played 5 seasons for the Giants. And then he had something wrong with his spine or his something a disc or something wrong, and his career was cut way short because he had a problem, an injury problem. I said it was either a disc or his spine or nerves in his back or something like that. But he only wanted to play, I think, till 87. But the time he played with the Giants, he was very, very good. So that was round 8. Round 9, the Giants selected Alijah Sheik. Okay, so I mean, if he didn't get hurt, he was a good one. I mean, as I said, I mean, he did very good for the Giants in the 1983 season. Let's see here. All right, now the Giants, pick number 10. Giants got Bill Matthews. From the Patriots. So on here, not 10. No, they didn't have a pick. They didn't, because they traded away. So they got Bill Matthews. But then again, once again, you're looking at these are 10th round picks. I mean, you're not going to have many winners with 10 round picks. All right. Let's see. The Oilers traded their 9th round pick, which wound up, let's see. Mike Jensen for 11th round pick. The Oilers and the Giants wound up trading. The Giants wound up traded 19 to the Oilers. And their 11th round pick, Lee Jenkins. 12th round pick on average. I said the Giants and the Oilers wound up making a trade. And the Giants, let's see, wound up taking Lee Jenkins, who never even made it in the NFL. So, as a defensive back. Then the Giants, they selected Clenzy Pearson. I don't think he made it in the NFL either. Then the Giants and the Oilers, once again, they traded picks. The Giants got Robbie Jones. I'm not sure. Did he make it in the NFL? Yeah, he played 4 years. He was a linebacker. Did he play for the Giants? I don't remember his name. Yeah, he did all 4 years. He didn't start it. He was basically a special teams player. He basically played in almost every game from 84 to 87 for the Giants. But he didn't start any games at linebacker, so he was probably pretty much a special teamer. That's why I don't remember them all. All right, then the Giants got, let's see here. So that was round 12. That was with the Oilers. Then the Giants had their own pick here. Who did they take? If I can find him. Giants took Frank Magwood. I don't think he made it in the NFL at all. And then the Giants, here's where they got Mr. Irrelevant, okay? The Giants traded Kevin Turner to the Redskins for their 12th round pick, which wound up being John Tuggle, Mr. Irrelevant. So that's how the Giants wound up getting the last pick in the draft, which was suited for the Redskins, who were the Super Bowl champions. The Super Bowl champions, you get the last pick in every round. So the last pick in round 12 went to the Redskins. Well, the Redskins and Giants, the Giants traded Kevin Turner to the Redskins. And in return, the Giants drafted John Tuggle, Mr. Relevant. So that's how that wound up working out. And I said, then the rest with Mr. Tuggle. Very, very sad, very sad. All right, so let's go. Let's see. We got statistics here. Let's go over statistics here. I said, what did Phil Simms here? Phil Simms. He played in 2 games. Okay. See, Scott Bruner started 12 games. Jeff Rutledge started 4 games. Scott Bruner was 3-9. Jeff Rutledge was 0-3-1. Jeff Rutledge was the quarterback that started the Monday night game against the Cardinals, wound up at 20-20 tie. Said Phil Simms played in 2 games. He got injured. He was 7 out of 13. What were the Giants? It just goes to show you how horrible they were. They had 12 touchdown passes all year, 12 touchdown passes in 16 games. They threw 31 interceptions. 31. Wow. All right. Butch Wolfolk had a very good season. Gave the Giants, he had 857 yards. All right, things would start changing though, because like 84, 85, Joe Marsh would start taking over, right? So Butch Wolfolk led 857 yards. Rob Carpenter had 624 yards. Joe Marsh had 145. And then John Tuggle, good old John Tuggle, he had 17 carries for 49 yards. Right, Billy Campfield. The Giants even had Billy Campfield. He was a former Eagle, Billy Campfield. So the Giants, what do they have? 3.5 yards a carry. They had 9 rushing touchdowns all season long. 9. They only gave up 10, but they're just, their run defense was very good. They only gave up 108 rushing yards a game. They gave up 10 rushing touchdowns all season long, so not too bad. The Giants gave up 26 passing touchdowns. The Giants, it was just, it was just not a good season. What did we do here? It's the sack department. The Giants had 44 sacks. They gave up 49. So what did LT have? LT had 9 sacks. Very good. George Martin had 9 sacks. Jerome Sally had 4.5. Andy Hedden, good old Andy Hedden, had 5. You go, Andy. All right, my man. And then a bunch of other guys. Somebody had 1. Somebody else had 1. Somebody else had, who had 3? Casey Merrill, forgot about him, number 71. Casey Merrill, he had 3. Larry Flowers had 1. D. Hardison, he had 2.5. Bill Courier had 1. Brian Kelly had 1.5. Brad Van Pelt had 3. Pete Shaw, wow, forgot about him. He had 1. Terry Kennard had 1. A bunch of guys had a bunch of sacks. Leonard Marshall actually only had half a sack the whole season, but things would change. That would change as he would go along. Leonard Marshall would start getting more and more sacks. But Ali Haji Sheik, where's he at? He was 35 out of 42 for field goals, 83.3%. Phenomenal season. Phenomenal. And of course, he wound up getting hurt, so unfortunately. But, this 1983 season was a very, very good season for him. So let's go over the Giants games here. So the Giants started off the first, let's see here. This wasn't, I think. Oh, it was. This was Eric Dickerson's first game. He ran the ball 31 times for 91 yards. Eric Dickerson's first ever game was the first game of the season. The Rams played the Giants. The Rams came to Giant Stadium on Sunday, September 4th, and the Giants lost 16-6. The Giants' offense just was not good. The following week, the Giants won in overtime. They played at Atlanta, and they wound up winning 16-13 in an overtime field goal. Then the following week, they played the Cowboys in Dallas. They lost 28-13. Then the following week, the Giants played the Green Bay Packers at home. They won 27-3. So now the Giants are 2-2. Okay. All right, we still, 2-2. Not bad, all right. Then, then the rest of the season, they won 1 game and they tied 1, and everything else, every other game they lost. Let's see here. The following week on the road, at home, they lost to the Chargers 41-34. Then the following week at home, they lost to the Eagles 17-13. Then they lost to the Chiefs on the road. They lost 38-17. So now they're 2-5. They said the game, the Monday night game against the Cardinals, they tied 20-20. Monday night, October 24th. Now this was the Giants' 10th Monday night game, and I don't know why. I should know why, but I don't know why they didn't play Monday night games in New York City. I don't know why. Well, actually, it wasn't Monday. Well, it wasn't even New York City. The first what? 1, 2, 3. The first four games the Giants played, the Giants actually played in New York. Okay, but even like here, I mean, they weren't in New York. They played in New Jersey. So out of the first 10 games, they only played one Monday night game at home. So they played 1970. They played. Actually, they were what were they? 2-7-1 after the first 10 Monday night games. 2-7-1. 1970 played in Philadelphia. 1971 they played in Dallas. 1972 they played in Philadelphia. 1973 they played. Then it started just the odd years. 73 they played in Los Angeles. 75 they played in Buffalo. 77 they played in St. Louis. 79 they played in 79 they played in Washington. Let's see, was it 81? I believe that's when they played in Philadelphia. 82, they played their first Monday night game at home. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, 27-19. So, and here they played the Cardinals in St. Louis. So 9 out of their first 10 Monday night games were all on the road, and they were 2-7-1. They beat the 1972. They beat the Eagles 27-12 at Veterans Stadium. 1975, they beat the Buffalo Bills 17-14 in Buffalo, and their only other non-losing game was in 1983 here. They they played 73, they played in 75, they played in 77, they played in 79, they played in 81, they played in 83. I mean, it just seemed like every odd year they played. Actually, they played in 71 as well, too. 71, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 81 and 83 they played. But so their only other was this 1983 game. They tied the St. Louis Cardinals. All the other 7 games they lost on Monday night. So then the following week, so now the Giants, after they tied the Cardinals, the Giants are 2-5-1. All right, so then the following week, the Cowboys would come to town. Giants couldn't beat the Cowboys nowadays. The Giants couldn't beat the Cowboys back then either. So the Giants lost 38-20 to the Dallas Cowboys, and now the Giants are 2-6-1. The following week, in another barn burner, the Giants would go to Detroit and they would lose 15-9. So now the Giants are 2-7-1. Then the following week, the Washington Redskins on Sunday, November 13th would come to town. Oh, actually, that was a Monday night game. The Giants played another Monday night game against the Detroit Lions and lose 15-9. So for some reason, I have no idea why. No idea why the Giants played 2 Monday night games. Wait. Monday night game, 27-3. Oh, there. Whoops. All right, so let's see. So they played the Lions on Monday night, and they lost 15-9. So then the following week, Washington would come to town. The Giants would lose 33-17 to the Redskins, and they were 2-8-1. Let's see. The following week, the Giants win the final win of the season. That they would play in Philadelphia, and they would beat the Eagles 23-0. I mean, the defense was on fire that game. The defense held the Eagles to 4 first downs and 79 yards of total offense. I mean, defense really stepped it up big time that game. What did the Eagles do? Eagles had 4 first downs. Eagles ran the ball 9 times for 10 yards. The Eagles were 7 out of 27 throwing the ball. They got sacked 4 times for minus 24 yards. So the Eagles had 69 yards passing, 10 yards rushing. They had 79 yards of total offense. Giants outgained them 332-79. The Giants had 22 first downs. The Eagles had 4. I mean, the Giants had the ball for 46 minutes and 43 seconds. The Eagles had the ball for 13 minutes. 13 minutes and 17 seconds. The whole game. 13 minutes. Giants ran the ball 60 times. That's ball control. Giants had the ball almost 47 minutes. Holy cow, what a throttling that was. But as I said, that would be the Giants' final win of the season. So, let's see here. Then the Giants would play the Raiders in Los Angeles. The Giants would lose 27-12, so now the Giants are 3-9-1. And the Raiders were a good team because the Raiders went to the Super Bowl that year. Then the following week on Sunday, December 4th, the Giants lose another barn burner to the Cardinals. The Giants would lose 10-6 at home. Now the Giants are 3-10-1. Then the Giants would lose to the Seattle Seahawks 17-12. Another barn burner. Then the final game of the season, the Giants would travel to Washington and play the Redskins, and they would lose 33-21 to finish the season 3-12-1. And I do want to make a quick. They played a Monday night game. Their second win of the season was a Monday night game. The Green Bay Packer game was at home. So they played 3 games on Monday night. Odd, very odd. So they did play a Monday night game at home. But that was their second Monday night game ever. So, I mean, the Giants had played apparently like 12 Monday night games and only 2 of them were at home. So, I don't know why that for whatever reason was they did not want to play Monday night games, I guess, in New Jersey. Don't know why. But so the Giants finished the season at 3-12-1. Very disappointing. I mean, the defense was not very good. Brian Kelly and Brad Van Pelt would be gone after the season because they've both been with the team since '74. They both played 10 seasons. They both played after Brad Van Pelt played like another 3 seasons, I think. Brian Kelly, I think he might have tried to hook on with somebody else, but he didn't make it. Let me see if I can find him here. There's Brian Kelly. I know Brad Van Pelt played with the Browns and the Raiders for like another 3 seasons after this. No, that was it for Kelly. Yeah, that was it. He played in all 16, started all 16 games for the Giants in 1983. But that was it. That was his final season. So, I mean, but, the Giants would get a big, nice shot in the arm in 84 when they would draft Carl Banks, right? So now you got, Harry Carson, right? They'd have Gary Reason as well. Obviously you have Lawrence Taylor, you got Carl Banks, you got Leonard Marshall, Jim Burt would start stepping up, right? You got George Martin, nice 7-some right there, great 7, front 7. So the defense would start coming around. The Giants' offense, 85 they had a good offense, but their offense still struggled. What did they do here? They scored 16 points a game. They gave up 21.7, but they scored 16 points a game. They were 25th out of 28 teams. I mean, just once again, their offense is just putrid, absolutely putrid. But that's the way it was. All right, so let's go here. Let's see what we got here as far as the AFC. So the Miami Dolphins won the AFC East with a record of 12-4. In the AFC Central, the Steelers won with a record of 10-6. The AFC West had the 2 wild card teams. The Los Angeles Raiders were first at 12-4. The Seahawks and the Broncos were both tied. They were both 9-7. So they got in. They beat the Browns. The Browns were 9-7 too, but the Seahawks and the Broncos won on a tiebreaker. So the wild card, Seattle beat Denver 31-7. So in the second round, the divisional round, the Raiders beat the Steelers 38-10, and Seattle would beat Miami 27-20, setting up a championship game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Raiders. The Raiders would wind up winning 30-14, go on to the Super Bowl. So in the NFC, the Redskins would win. They'd have a record of 14-2. I mean, they scored 541 points in 16 games. Phenomenal season. The Dallas Cowboys came in second place. They were 12-4. The Detroit Lions won the NFC Central with a record of 9-7. The NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers won. They were 10-6, and the Los Angeles Rams came in second place. They were 9-7. So the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams were the wild card teams. So in the wild card at Texas Stadium, the Rams beat the Cowboys 24-17, setting up the divisional round. Detroit played San Francisco. The 49ers would win 24-23. And in the divisional round, the Washington Redskins and the Rams, the Redskins would only win 51-7. Close game, setting up a championship game between the Redskins and the 49ers. The Redskins would win 24-21, sending the Redskins to the Super Bowl against the Raiders. And it was not much of a Super Bowl, I tell you what. The one thing that really turned things around, I mean, it was 14-3. Okay, with like 15 seconds to go in the half. I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know why. The Redskins had the ball. They were deep in their own territory, like around their own 5-yard line or so. For some reason, they dropped back the pass with like 10 seconds to go. I don't know why. And Joe Theismann threw a pass. Well, Jack Squirick, they had seen this play. I don't know if they sent Washington out in the flat or whatever it was, but they saw this play and they saw it, and he diagnosed the play. Once he saw the flow of it or whatever it was, he kind of had an instinct reaction, and he went and he cut in front of, I think it was Washington. It might have been out in the flat. Joe Theismann tried to throw the pass to. So Joe Theismann kind of just dropped back and just, threw the ball without looking. So it was 14-3 at this time. Still a close game. Well, Jack Squire jumped in front of the pass, picked it off, ran into the end zone for 5 yards, and put the Raiders up 21-3 going into halftime. Well, then John Reagan scored in the third quarter to make it 21-9. They missed the extra point. It got blocked. But, I mean, if that interception didn't happen, the game would have been 14-9. It would have been a close game. So then of course, we had Marcus Allen. He had a 5-yard touchdown run to put him up 28-9. Then Allen had that crazy 74-yard run where he started running to the left. He did a 360, headed toward the middle of the field and ran up through the middle and just took off, and nobody caught him, and he went 74 yards for a touchdown to make it 35-9. Then they kicked a field goal to make it 38-9. It was not a very good game at all. Let's see. The Redskins, who were known for running the ball, ran the ball 32 times for 90 yards. The Raiders ran the ball 33 times for 231 yards. The Redskins got 2.8 yards a carry. The Raiders ran the ball, got 7 yards a carry. I mean, it was just, it was not a good game. It was just, I mean, once they picked the pass off and made it 21-3 at halftime, it was just. But I mean, you thought that the Redskins could possibly come back because they were 14-2. They were a phenomenal team. They scored a ton of points. They just couldn't get it done against the Raiders. They just couldn't get it done. It wound up being a rather bad Super Bowl. But it is what it is. But the following season, we would get back to that would be Marino would be in there, right? 84. And that's when the 49ers would start coming back on again, too. But not only that, but the Giants would start coming back around as well, too. So Parcells was granted a second season because after starting 3-12-1, I mean, if he didn't improve, if he wound up with another 3-4 win season or so, he was gone. So he had to turn things around. I think he said he was kind of like too nice of a guy. You know what I mean? So he really started to get a little nasty. He said, if I'm going down, we're doing it my way. So we're not Mr. Nice Guy anymore. So he started getting a little nasty, right? They drafted Carl Banks. The defense started getting better. And Phil Simms was the starting quarterback, which wound up being a good move, right? So then the Giants started winning games. I mean, they had a winning record in 84. They went to the playoffs, and they wound up they beat the Rams They lost to the Rams during the regular season, 33-12, I think it was. One of the most horrible games I've ever seen a Giant team play. Ungodly horrible. Well, they turned that around in the 84 playoffs, and they beat the Rams 16-13. Giants in the divisional round would wind up losing to the 49ers 21-10. The only touchdown to score, Harry Carson picked off a pass from Joe Montana and ran it in for a touchdown. That was the only touchdown the Giants scored. The Giants lost 21-10. But they had, in 1984, they had a winning season, and they got a taste of the playoffs with Bill Parcells. So that taste started, left a good, or the loss maybe left a bad taste in it. But the win, they got a couple playoff games under the belt. Something for them to build on. And of course, obviously, we all know a couple of years later, they would go to the Super Bowl and win. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the 1983 season, the first season for Coach Bill Parcells with the Giants. It was not a successful one, but it was what it was. But the following season would be. So that would be the 1984 season. And I'll be back again tomorrow night to talk about that, which just happened to be the 60th season in the history of the New York Giants. I'll see you then.